I've been Labour all my life. All my family were Labour, so I think Labour is in my blood. I don't think they have a vision now. The Labour Party is far too closely allied to conservative values than it is to what we would call socialist values.
Thurrock, een voorstad van Londen. Hier werd altijd trouw Labour gestemd. Maar de sfeer is veranderd. Toen een nieuwe Labour-leider moest worden gekozen, kwamen 35 mensen naar de stembus. Een dieptepunt. En bij de laatste verkiezingen won de anti-migratiepartij UKIP glansrijk van Labour.
This one is about Mr. Corbyn's victory and the attitude of those who lost in the first round. That's my interest, really, you know. That's what keeps me going. That's why I'm 83 now.
Peter Perrin staat in heel Thurrock bekend om zijn kritische blogs over de politiek en over het verval van Labour.
They don't live in the same world as the working class, so they don't see that there is a problem about immigration, uncontrolled immigration, and that people who do jobs like, say, carpentry or plumbing or things, their jobs are under threat from people coming in from the EU countries. I've always been a great believer in that sometimes people do know best. It's not always the politicians who know best.
In Londen is de Labour-partij hard wakker geschud. Tot verbijstering van veel parlementsleden stemde de traditionele achterban massaal voor Brexit en tegen open grenzen.
We're still wrestling with the challenge here on the left as to what that means for us. So we now live in a post-truth populist world where we've just seen Donald Trump elected to be the President of the United States. And I think we here amongst the British Labour Party are looking very closely about how we can reconnect with those people who've traditionally supported us. But I'll be honest with you, that is work in progress. That is work that we have to do.
Een doordeweekse ochtend in de wijk Camden in Londen. Hier wordt achter de schermen gewerkt aan een nieuwe Labour. Jonge vrijwilligers zetten zich in voor leider Jeremy Corbyn. Hij heeft met zijn uiterst linkse politiek duizenden jongeren weer enthousiast gemaakt. Na zijn verkiezing is de beweging Momentum opgericht.
He came out with a whole new set of politics based on hope, based on building communities. And it was something that I haven't heard before in my lifetime. I've never heard a politician saying any of this stuff. He was really like electrifying a movement around him. So many people were completely disillusioned by what was happening in, in their communities. And as more and more people joined this movement, we suddenly saw, there's another way to do things.
Mr. Speaker, this crisis is a crisis for many elderly people who are living in a very difficult situation because of this.
There's about a 10-minute back and forth between Jeremy Corbyn as leader of the opposition and Theresa May, the Prime Minister, where Jeremy puts questions to her about different issues, and so we do live tweeting during that.
2% of council tax is clearly a nonsense.
Politics was slick, top-down, people in smoky rooms making decisions and then just telling people what to do, disseminating that. So the social element, but also the empowering element, the building a movement element, actually listening to voices that are normally not heard in Britain and enabling them to come together, to speak their minds, to be part of a collective. So it offered a lot of hope.
Terug in Thurrock. Peter Perrin zag UKIP opkomen in zijn wijk. Maar toen hij uit nieuwsgierigheid een dag meeliep met de partij, werd hij zwaar gestraft.
You are therefore no longer a member of the Labour Party and have been removed from the national membership system. You will no longer be entitled to attend local party meetings.
Peter Perrin twijfelt of hij weer Labour stemt. Hij voelt zich aangetrokken tot de uiterst linkse politiek van Corbyn. Maar hij vreest dat de partij zich te veel pro-migratie en anti-Brexit gaat opstellen.
Leave means leave. Brexit means Brexit. You know, I think the time has come where we need to stand on our own 2 feet, make our own way in the world, and a bit of flag waving and patriotism isn't a bad thing.
Terug bij Momentum, waar druk vergaderd wordt. De jongeren beseffen de tegenstelling binnen de partij.
But then which piece?
Well, depending on where the event is.
Ze nemen het initiatief en zoeken contact met de oudere Labour-kiezer. In maart start een grootse campagne, Take Back Control.
So we want to take back control from a government that is completely blocking us out and have the conversations that need to be had on really nitty-gritty stuff, on immigration, on whether the left can offer patriotism, but also on hopeful things, on what actually we want our society to be after Brexit.
De oude arbeidersklasse die zich tegen migratie keert en tegen de Europese Unie. En de groeiende jongerenbeweging die voor open grenzen is en migranten wil omarmen. Het lijken 2 totaal verschillende stromingen. En dat beseft men ook binnen de Labour-partij.
Certainly there is a dynamic tension between different parts of our movement. I think it's entirely possible through good-natured, constructive debate to reach a policy that we present to the public which understands that there are sort of 2 sides to this particular coin. But in the end, the public get to decide, and we've got to be in step with what they're saying and what they're thinking.
Die avond organiseren honderden Momentum-jongeren een inzameling voor vluchtelingen. En plotseling is er hun leider, Jeremy Corbyn, met een verrassingsbezoek. Ook Corbyn beseft het gevaar van een splitsing van 2 stromingen. Maar hij wil de enthousiaste jongeren niet ontmoedigen.
Disunity is our enemy. Unity is our strength and our necessity at this time. I see Momentum as a social movement, a movement that will campaign on all of these issues, but above all, excite and unite people to come together. To come together to challenge injustice, inequality and social exclusion. Bring people together to achieve things together. That is what makes us so different from every other political party in this country.